With less than 5% of the world's population, but nearly 25% of its incarcerated population, the United States imprisons more people than any nation in the world, largely due to the war on drugs. Misguided drug laws and harsh sentencing requirements have produced profoundly unequal outcomes for people of color. Mandatory sentencing laws, like the three strikes policy, are largely the cause of this overrepresentation. Too often, criminal court proceedings allow for soft convictions or for the criminal to slip through the cracks altogether. The three strikes policy prevents that and informs second strikers that they definitely will go to jail next time, will not stop and pass go, and will not collect $200. With this policy, circumstances really don't matter. You may see a young boy who's made 3 bad decisions before the time he can turn 18 and make a good one, or a 2-time felon who's leading an upstanding life with upstanding character and who finds themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time. In either situation, do not pass go, do not collect $200, to jail you go.
A lot of it is too strict, too much.
It's like one mistake, sometimes it's not entirely their fault, but like murderers, like I've seen them walk free and it's not right.
I don't know, I guess it means like trying to get people off the streets in a way. Like it doesn't matter how like small or big the thing is, it's like if this is your 3rd time doing it, then you're kind of off the street. So I guess it's more like a no toleration like expense than anything.
They just give up after we mess up a few times, I guess. Pretty much it.
Our government has the most people in prison right than any other country, so I guess it makes our country look very poor, very, very bad. So
I guess like more in criminal cases, it's not always fair.
Though we did see declines in crime rate in the 90s, few actually attribute that to the introduction of the three strikes policy. Rather, they appear to be a part of a national trend of falling crime rates. Budget increases were required in 1995 due to things unrelated to the three strikes policy, like medical expenses and parole violators returning to prison. Currently, $1.5 billion is spent annually, with an expected increase to $6 billion by 2026. More than 40,000 prisoners, about 1 in 4, are serving extended sentences for second and third offenses that are punished more severely under the three strikes law than the crime would warrant as a first offense, according to state corrections records.
False. False. Yes. False.
Definitely false. False.
False.
According to the Drug Policy Alliance, there were more than 1.5 million drug arrests in 2012, and 55,000 of whom were incarcerated for possession alone.
I think it's junking up our jails, when if they're really not hurting anyone, they're just hurting themselves, especially for stuff like weed and stuff, that it's just costing us more money to house them there, feed them there, and it's really not making a difference.
There's a lot of them there, but I feel like a lot of them shouldn't be there because they're mainly like low drug offenses, usually for marijuana, and then a lot of them are repeat offenders. But I feel like most people think that people in prison are like murderers, rapists, and thieves, I guess. But it's mainly stuff for drugs, meth.
It's kind of a waste of taxpayers' money.
Why do you think that?
Because if they're not doing anything but doing drugs, like what are they really harming? Like why are we paying for their meals every day and their bed?
The numbers and the general public seem to agree. If this very expensive policy isn't really impacting crime, then what are we doing? Why are we spending all of this money? Why are we cutting health, welfare, and education repeatedly to fund an expensive system that doesn't actually deliver on what its promises were? 76% of Democrats and 72% of Republicans both agree that voters are looking for solutions that don't raise taxes or take money from other priorities like education. For too long, we have locked up petty misdemeanor offenses due to a blanket policy that allows for no negotiation, as if gray areas never exist.
We could have more space for people who actually created offenses that harm the general public, like murderers or robbers, stuff like that. And drug offenses could probably just be fines, honestly. There's no need for jail time unless they're distributing heavy amounts, like heavy. I don't know what quantity they give here, but unless they're mass selling something, if they just have like, I don't know, maybe a couple grams or something in their car, that's kind of like, prison time for that is ridiculous.
They don't have any type of rehabilitation or anything like that. They have halfway houses, but even still, they don't have any type of program to reintegrate criminals back into society. So they just keep going on the same cycle, and it's not really, it's not really the criminal's fault, more so than society's fault for not having any type of program set up to help anybody.
While it may appear that the three strikes policy is working to benefit our country, society actually does more suffering due to the tax increase and budget cuts associated with it. While no one is suggesting implementing a criminal justice system with no accountability or time served for a crime, the goal should be what's best for the entire community, not just some. Fines, community service, and rehabilitation are ways to serve time for a crime while also bettering your community and yourself.